Hey, Will, can you jump on Facebook to make sure that the stream is working? Awesome. And
Hey, TGS. We'll be talking about Gundam model kits and stuff.
all right. Tell me if you see. We're just gonna wait real quick and just make sure that it's on Facebook. Hey, Joey, driven to win. Oh, hey, Vegan Morty. What's up, Craig? I'm good. Oh my gosh, my wife is calling me. Hang on a second, guys. Yeah, babe.
Just give us a second. We're getting all set up on Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff.
No, I'm okay. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go streaming, so don't. That was just on live. All right, everybody out there in TV land, we are back. Okay, we are back. So let's just do a Unreal 3.6K views. Okay, all right. I guess. Hey, Will, did you check on Facebook? Make sure we're live.
Looking like Brett the Man.
Awesome, cool.
No, it's Quattro glasses.
Quattro glasses. All right, cool. So remember, we're going to focus here. So everybody out there in TV land, whether or not you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, I am Eddie, one of the owners of Flynn's, and we are here with UbersCosplay.
Hello.
A.K.A. Ben, our resident Gundam expert. And he is he's nice enough to we're gonna start doing these little Gundam videos to introduce more people to the hobby. But before we get started this evening, and we're actually recording live from inside of Flynn's because on Mondays we're actually closed to the public where we clean and work on machines and stuff like that. So Ben, why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself and let the people know where they can find you if they don't know where to find you. And Ben, like I said, if you know him, he is an extraordinaire when it comes to building Gundam and a lot of other things too. His knowledge of Gundam blows my mind every single time, and his cosplay, your Gundam suits, is
right.
Revolutionary. So anyway, so tell the people where they can find you and all that good stuff.
All right, thanks very much. My name is Ben, also known as UbersCosplay. Been cosplaying since about 2011. If you're gone to any cons in the southern U.S., specifically in Florida a lot, you may have seen the giant Gundam walking around. Chances are that was me. I do a lot of oversized costumes and props, everything from giant robots, huge swords, to even drivable go-kart tanks and things. But I'm also a big fan of Gundam model kits, which is what we're going to be talking with you guys about today. But if you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, everything as UbersCosplay.
Awesome. All right, cool. UbersCosplay. So it's UBERS.
Yep.
Cosplay, C-O-S.
UbersCosplay, one word.
Cosplay, exactly. Hey, Gerald, thanks so much for liking the stream. So, yeah, be sure to check out his Facebook, Instagram, all his channels, because he creates some really marvelous different, creations, if you will, and different builds and models. And, I mean, the amount of creations are, overwhelming. He's also our resident Gundam person on our Discord channel.
Right.
And our Discord channel is found in the description in Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I'm sure he's always chiming in with your new kits. And I know you're working on a tank and all that kind of stuff, along with other projects. So the whole point and purpose of this particular video is this video going live in a different way. We're going to try to do these more often, especially as Flynn's begins to grow, and we want to grow that Gundam community. So we'll start kind of a little differently where, what got you into Gundam, Ben?
Well, my first taste of Gundam was probably similar to a lot of fans in the U.S., which was Gundam Wing when it aired on Cartoon Network.
Okay.
Way back in the day, back in the
90s.
I think it was late 90s is when it started, maybe early 2000s. But I was already aware of anime and Gundam, but I hadn't really seen it until that came on TV.
Okay.
And I started really getting it into it there. At the time, you could get the model kits at Toys R Us.
Really? They had it at Toys R Us?
Yeah, they had them at Toys R Us for a while. I think they're starting to come back. You can start to find them in more American stores more commonly. But back then, that was really weird. You weren't used to seeing something like that.
Right.
But I got really into Gundam, just seeing it on TV. And then from there, everyone kind of had the experience of, it's just one thing. No, it's a huge expanded universe, all kinds of different stories, from books to games, the comics, and then the shows and everything. So it's really diverse.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So that's what got you into the hobby.
Well, I got really into the hobby just because I love the giant robots specifically.
all right. The
and
show.
The shows are all awesome. The action and everything is really, really great. So, especially for me at the time being in high school, it was just like crack, man. It was everything I wanted, and it's been like that ever since. And the great thing about Gundam 2 is it's continuing.
Right.
They have shows that are coming out that are still following stories they started back in the 70s.
Right.
And then they have new ones which are directed towards a lot of the newer audience coming into the stuff just now that just completely stand alone, but it's drawing from all that Gundam lore to tell new stories and get people into the hobby of the models and everything.
It's kind of cool when you start seeing those shows like alongside Gundam. I think of like X-Men where the story follows on itself.
Right.
And it's really cool to see shows because now it's like most shows are totally random.
Yeah.
Every episode there's subtle connections, but the connections aren't really deep.
Yeah, it's like they're drawing from a well of the mythology.
Right.
And like they'll have stuff pulled in there for the older fans.
Right.
And then they'll constantly be throwing in new stuff to get newer people engaged as well.
Right. Great point. So I mean, so Gundam's been a part. So you transitioned from the television shows to building.
I pretty much went right into the model kits. Like I got like a small little V8 model kit, one of the bad guys from Gundam Wing.
Right.
And immediately I was like, oh, this is really fun.
Right.
And the kits back then were so simple.
Okay,
and so kind of junk. But it was a lovely little thing, and I started getting into it more and more from there. And at the time, I didn't have any clue what I was doing. And there wasn't a lot of resources, especially in America, for how to get into the hobby and how to do it. You had the older crowd, which was doing like ships and tanks and cars and stuff.
Right.
And then they all kind of saw these younger guys coming in here with these robots and like, what is all this? What do you mean you don't need glue?
Exactly. Wasn't Gundam just recently introduced into like the plastic modelers like society?
It's gotten so big now, especially that it's in some ways I think it's kind of overlapped the other stuff in terms of like what it's doing and what it's selling and how it's pushing the medium.
Like, and we're talking about guys like in terms of the model building of Gundam, and we're gonna get into more kits and basic kits, more advanced kits, and like kind of like not the tippy tip top, but close to the top of the pyramid.
No, we're gonna show you like a range of things.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So the whole point in preface, guys, is to really allow people to be introduced to the hobby. Mm-hmm. I know Will had mentioned one time to me, you guys should know Will by now if you're watching us or know anything about us. Will just mentioned to me a Gundam show, I think. And then I think I saw your stuff at a convention, your cosplay suits. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's really cool. And honestly, I've probably watched like a half an episode, but I've gotten really heavily into the models because I like the intricacy of it, That's
another thing, too. I've seen a lot of people that get really into the hobby that have nothing to do with the show. They don't know anything about it.
Exactly.
They're just like, I like cool robots and the toys are fun. And it is. It's even if you're not into the shows or anything, it's a really cathartic experience just to build the model kits.
Right, exactly.
And it's a lot more accessible, like I say, than some of the older style models of like tanks and cars and stuff like that. Because like I said, you don't need any really crazy tools or experience or anything like that. It's a very accessible hobby.
Right. And you can find, here at Flynn's, we have a variety of kits, which actually Ben helps us, pretty much handpicks them for us. And he gives his expertise because what have you noticed? The biggest thing is when we started Flynn's, I wanted to introduce Gundam immediately because I began to understand like there's a need for this. Like people want this. And, it's not called plastic crack for a reason. So it's like, people wanted this. And plus, I wanted to be able to get kits for myself. And I'm like, hey, well, I could use it as an excuse.
You've taken a few off the top of that crate when that comes in.
Yes, I usually take a few off the top because, they're mine. So
he gets first pick.
Exactly. I get first pick. And then, but what happened was when we started introducing them, you really gave me us a lot of wisdom, which we're thankful for because you kind of led us to understand that there needs to be a methodology behind selecting kits for a shop like this. So
right.
In your experience, like with Flynn's, we do have kits. We have a variety of kits. We go through kits pretty quickly and we order them as quickly as possible. But what's your from seeing other, and we're not going to name names, but seeing other shops or other businesses when it comes to kit selection, what's your choice? Like how do you pick kits for Flynn's?
I try to have a really good mix of what I call like the hero units.
Okay.
And then the ones for the model kit crowd, the ones that are there for the guys that are already into the hobby. Mm-hmm. The hero ones are like the really kind of flashy, really upfront, like icons of the series.
Right.
You know, that someone that's not necessarily into the hobby
Right.
might gravitate towards those designs because they're so eye-catching.
Right.
And then at the same time, there's designs that are a little more understated, but the technology in them, like how they're built, might be more advanced, or it's a particularly popular design amongst people that are into the series.
Right.
You know, like there's a lot of ones that maybe they only showed up for a few seconds in the shows.
But they made a model of it.
But they made a model of it, and it's a super great model, and everyone loves it. This guy only showed up for 5 minutes, and then he exploded, but he left an impression.
He's got a kit, you know.
Yeah. That's the other thing about Gundam. There's a lot of robots to choose from.
Right. Okay. So it's a variety, a mix.
Yes.
Because you've noticed, like, I think we talked about it where you notice in other shops or other stores where they'll have like let's say 7 kits, but they'll have 10 of that kit.
Yeah. I'm like a lot of places will kind of have like a shotgun blast approach. Just kind of throw everything at the wall, see what sticks.
Okay.
And when I pick them out, I'm trying to pick of what I know people like, what do I know people are looking for, and what do I know moves on the shelves.
Okay. Yeah, and so that's why, guys, you know, a lot of times with the kits we have here, we, you know, Ben handpicked them, and there's a variety, and then also we do that build and paint night on Thursday nights at 8 every Thursday until we close. It's totally free to attend. Just build whatever you want to, or bring whatever you want to build, and you're able to even pick up kits here. So it's pretty cool, like what it's becoming, and it's becoming a lot larger than we have ever anticipated it to come.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, especially as I think people get more and more comfortable coming back out and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's just going to grow and get bigger from here.
Yeah.
So with that being said, guys, so the whole preface of this live video with Ben, one of hopefully many, is to introduce people into the idea of, okay, so you want to get into Gundam, or let's say you're into Gundam, what's the next evolutionary step, and how you pivot. So what would you suggest, like you have a brand new person, maybe introduce, I know you pulled a couple of kits off our shelves, and we'll just go through them so they can kind of get an idea. And we can talk about cost, we can talk about what you need. You think, okay, well, let's talk about tools for a second. So with tools, a lot of times what I've seen is, and if you want to grab the first basic kit, because we'll show them the instructions. So like on the first basic kit, so first off, on this particular kit, and he knows a lot more names than I do. Right. On this particular, or all the kits, you don't need glue, right?
Yes. All Gundam kits, all modern Gundam kits require no glue.
No glue.
No kind of specialized cutters, anything like that. And you don't even need paint for most of them to do color correction. A lot of these come right in the box, already molded in the correct colors. Some you may need minor paint color correction, but usually they'll have color correcting stickers and that kind of thing too. And if you want to get more into it, they have a lot of expandability for you to add more detail to it later as you expand as a builder.
Like weathering and things like that.
Yeah, like weathering or doing custom paint or decals and that kind of thing. There's pretty much, the sky's the limit.
Right.
But none of that's required. If you just want to get into it, bite into it, build something in an hour, you can totally do that. And you'll have something that looks great.
And when it comes to like tools, guys, and we actually haven't began to bring tools in here because the tools on our distributor, you've seen them. I mean, they can get a little pricey, and they also limited, you know. So literally, guys, you can go on Amazon, and some people might hate this that I'll show them, but like literally this Amazon kit has a little nippers, cutters here. It came with
cutters.
Yeah, some cutters. It came with a couple different types of files. You know, it came with a couple of different types of files, or sanders, and then like a little sanding block, you know, for the nubs and stuff like that. Another little sanding thing, I'm assuming, and then a little rag, and then it even came with the tweezers that you're going to need for the decals.
For the decals and things like that.
And then, of course, in my kit, and then the X-Acto knife, you know, little X-Acto knife. And literally, guys, on Amazon, this, I'm not going to lie to you, it's like $8.
Yeah. And like he says, these are the run-of-the-mill. You may not think it's anything fancy, but really, for these, if you're just getting into it, you don't need anything more complicated than this. You don't need to go out and get like the super expensive nippers or get like custom sanding sticks. Really, you can get by. Even I've seen people building with nail clippers.
Yeah, I've seen that too as well, yeah.
One of the funny stories is the first master grade I ever built, I built on top of my desk in my living room with a steak knife. Not the best way to do it, but you can do it.
A steak knife?
A steak knife.
Yeah, because it's not really hard. I mean, you could Could you even punch it out with your finger?
Some of the more modern kits, they even come with a little tool in there to where that pops it right off the runner for you.
Okay, all right. So let's break it down. So this is a basic kit, but I'll let Ben talk about it. And we'll open it up, and so you guys get a basic logistics of what's actually in the box.
So what this is one of the recent Bandai lines that came out. This is not a Gundam kit specifically.
Right.
This is called a 30-minute mission kit, and all the details are right there in the name. The idea is it's a very simple, customizable kit that you can build in 30 minutes, or about that time usually. Very simple. It's just 2 or 3 runners already molded in the colors. Comes with like a little few runners of stickers and everything.
And just so when we say runners, what are we referring to?
Yeah, the runner refers to this sheet of injection molded plastic.
And if you want to get close, you can put as close as you want. There you go.
Right. And they're all come molded in their specific colors. You got the white parts, the black parts, etc. And you've got a little runner of the gray for the weapons and things like that. And these are all individually numbered and lettered. So it'll tell you which parts to go to break them out and everything. And inside also you have your instruction manual. Now the great thing about the 30-minute missions kits, like I said, is they are designed specifically so you can build them in a hurry. The runners are laid out to where the parts, you can basically just build it top to bottom as you're going down. So if you were to take the runner and just follow it from top to bottom, you would build the head, the torso, the arms, and then finally the legs. Very, very simple. But the great thing about the 30-minute missions kits, too, especially if you're just getting into Gundam modeling, is these are designed to be compatible with pretty much all modern Gunpla. So if you want to do your own customizations later, all these parts are compatible with other Gunpla. You could say, take the arm off of this guy and put it on a Gundam kit like a Zaku or even the original Gundam. So it gives you a lot of options for customization and just ways to grow. That's why I think these are great for starting out. I actually have quite a few of these myself. I have a Porta Nova and an Alto in blue.
And they come in different colors. They come in different styles, weapons,
Right.
accessories. And there's I know we have right here, the accessories, like what do they call it, a wing kit? Or
yeah, they have a flight pack.
A flight pack, there you
and
go,
like I said, the flight pack too is if you have a Gundam kit that you want to have a flight pack, you could take that flight pack and just plug it into him. The plugs are all the same size. They're mostly compatible with, I think the only ones that aren't are some of the much older kits.
Okay, and we're talking more, when we say flight pack, it means like a wing.
Yeah, he's actually got like wings that come out of his back and things.
Yeah, and this is going to take you like 30 minutes to build.
Yeah, if you've never built a model kit before and you've got no tools more complicated than a set of nail clippers, you can build this in about 30 minutes.
And when Ben was explaining to me, like, because in the other kits we're going to see, it can get a little more complicated with the instructions because you might have to pull different runners. Remember, runners are those plastic, tracks of of all the pieces. You might have to pull different letters, and you might have to look. The pieces might be scattered around.
Right.
And you might have to look for the number, and that's really cool because I'm looking on the back even, and if you guys see on the back has all the letters and color coordinated, the color coordination as well, so you guys can see it, all the color coordination of where the pieces are actually at for the head, the torso, the arms, the legs, and the waist.
And you see what I mean, how it just breaks it down, or you basically
super.
follow it straight down the runner.
Super simple.
Yeah.
And so this would be, when it comes to Gundam, what's the bottom age you say someone could start at?
I mean, there's people that enter contests and win that are 5 years old and sometimes around that age.
Okay.
So anybody can get into this.
So if you're pretty much old enough to play with Legos.
This is just big kids' Legos, in my opinion.
Now, they should obviously be governed by an adult. Because
yes, obviously, if you're going to use any kind of sharp object or anything, you want to have an adult around. But there's no reason why younger kids can't get into these. And no reason why older people can't get into them.
Exactly. I think this is a great place to start, too, because a lot of times when it comes to kits, you have my mic bed. You have...
Oh, you okay?
Yeah. What happens is a lot of times with kits is that I'll admit when I first started, I picked the RX-78, but the HG kit, and I didn't really know what I was getting into.
Right.
And it took me time to figure it out, especially because the Japanese or the instructions are in Japanese.
Right.
And you kind of got to follow where they're at and what they're saying and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, as he says, all the instructions for these are in Japanese.
Right.
But a lot of the more modern kits too, like all the technological blurbs, like it tells the history of the robot, will be in English. And the instructions are all laid out very clearly with pictures.
Yeah,
to where it walks you through the entire process. So if you open one of these up and you see all the Japanese, don't get intimidated because you can easily build this just by the pictures.
Exactly. And it's fairly simple with a 30-minute. As we break into other kits, the complexity does get
The complexity increases, but the requirement of tools
does not
increase. You can always build these with just basic tools.
And we had some comments on here, Ben. I'm just going to make sure that we catch them. So the thing is, well, Richard actually said you get what you pay for when it comes to tools.
There's a certain amount of truth to that, but there's no amount of bad tools that effort cannot make up for.
Okay.
And there's
meaning what?
Meaning that if you're doing your first kit and you have a few cuts that come out rough, there's nothing stopping you from going back and cleaning it up later. There's plenty like that. I don't know if you guys remember earlier I mentioned that little V8 kit, the first one I ever did.
Right.
I went back to it years after the fact, and rebuilt it completely.
Right.
Broke it all apart, cleaned it up, painted it, and it's one of the best looking kits in my shelf. But it's a 25-year-old kit. There's no reason you can't return to these later, because the idea is just to get you started. You can always come back and get more advanced tools and, get into painting and getting compressors and all that stuff later. But if you're just getting into it, you can always come back to them later and do them up more once you get more experience.
And guys, most of the time Ben is always here on Thursday nights, and he's an open resource to all of you. I mean, testament to that. He'll explain anything. And we also not only have Ben, but we have a lot of other seasoned builders as well that kind of all add together. That's why our build and paint nights on Thursday nights at 8 is just it's a cool time to come together. And also sometimes you don't want to build at home alone.
Yeah, you want to get out and meet other Gundam fans.
Exactly, and you kind of discover it together. So awesome. So 30-minute build at Flynn's. Look at that, $13. Very affordable. Great space to start if you never built anything. So let's get to the next one. So we have down on the. We'll put this to the side. So we have the next one on the roster, if you will.
All right, getting a little more into traditional Gundam. This is one of the starter sets for the original RX-78 Gundam. This is like the classic, the granddaddy, the guy that started it all. The great thing about these starter kits is it doesn't just come with the model itself. It comes with the first thing, real tool you need to start upping the detail of your builds.
Right.
And what that is me?
Yeah, it's on the bottom, I think, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. Is one of these. It's a Gundam Marker. A Gundam Marker is a special paint pen made by Bandai that is the exact size for doing all the little detail on these kits. Let me bring one of these pieces close here. Like, I don't know if you can see it too well on the camera, but all over the part, there's little lines etching for detail and things on these. That pen is the perfect size for that. And doing these little lines with this pen really brings out the detail of the kit, really helps it pop. And the other thing that comes in these starter packs is a nice little how-to guide with a lot of nice pictures that show you little things like that, how to detail up with pens and clean up and things like that. Also in Japanese, but like I said, all explained in pictures. It's very
Does
clear
Google
pictures.
Translate work with the app? Like if you actually put your
You can
phone
if
over
you
it?
got Google, you could point it at and take the pictures of it. I started doing that recently for manga and stuff, but
That's another video for another time.
Yeah, and see, that's the part I was telling you about that breaks the pieces off the runner.
Does it come with it?
I'd have to check in here, but I don't think it does.
I
think that's other kits.
So I know you're turn it around. Let's see it. Let's see it.
Some of these kits come with this piece here. It's molded on the runner, and you can actually just use that to pop pieces straight off. So you don't even need a knife or a cutter. I know for certain the mega size kits come with this, but I can't say off the top of my head which other ones come with them.
And you see that it comes with, guys, as you saw in the box, it comes
with multiple colors on
the runners. Remember, the runner is a piece of plastic that holds all the pieces. And you have a white one, like a blackish or a grayish one, blue, red, the traditional colors.
The Bandai injection molding technology has gotten really good, too.
Is yellow on this?
Sorry?
Is the yellow one on this? Or
no, the yellow one's on this. That's what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
The Bandai technology, this is why I say they've really raised the bar for model kits.
Right.
A few years ago, this was something you never saw, where multiple colors came out of an injection kit. You'd get a kit like a tank or a car.
Right.
It'd all be one color.
I've seen that.
Bandai's really perfected the technology where they'd get everything onto one runner, multiple colors.
Saves plastic, saves
exactly.
runners,
and so you'd put this guy together, and the colors are almost perfectly animation accurate. There's very little you have to do to make it look like it does in the animation or the comics.
And of course, guys, there's letters, B's on that one. I'm assuming that one says A.
Yes, and this also brings up something that we didn't see in the 30-minute mission kits. This smaller runner in front It's kind of made of a rubbery plastic.
Right. I've seen that.
Yeah, that's called a polycap.
That's why it says PC on it.
PC.
Okay.
Because a lot of those are shared between kits. They'll all get that same runner. The polycaps are like these rubberized plastic joints.
Right,
Where
yeah.
ball and socket joints and everything where the model kit will get its mobility from.
Okay.
So you'll start to see that in most of these high-grade kits.
All right, cool. And then also, I think there's like a little sticker, like a little tiny sticker.
Yeah,
in the
we've
corners.
got... This is what I say about
The
color
eyes.
correction. There's a very small sticker sheet in here.
Super tiny.
Yeah, of the eyes and a few gray pieces. But that's just a testament to how good the color accuracy is on the plastic. You almost don't need the stickers to make this guy look good other than the eyes.
And a kit like this, I would still consider the HD, and actually this is called Gunpla starter set.
Yeah, this is specifically targeted to people who have never built the model kits before.
How much time are you thinking?
This one, maybe an hour.
Okay.
You could probably do it in maybe 2 if you wanted to go all out with the marker. But if you just wanted to build it, disregard the marker, you could probably do this in about an hour.
Okay. So it's a little bit longer, but it's nothing anyone can't do.
No, and the great thing about these two
Right.
is they're not just like statue pieces. These are highly mobile, like action figures.
No,
They'll do all kinds of crazy poses. They usually come with multiple accessories, weapons, and things like that. And like I said, too, the 30-minute mission ones, these are all compatible. You could take parts from this guy and put them onto this one or vice versa, and they're totally compatible.
Yeah, and I like how in the back of the book it even begins to show you, and like that part.
Right,
where
it starts
begins
to break
show
down the
you,
more
like,
advanced techniques.
Where like it shows you the more advanced techniques in the back as well. Because I found that to be something a little more daunting when it comes to the advanced techniques, because you can go in whatever direction you choose.
Right.
And you can just kind of mess around with kits. And actually the first kit that I modified was the RX-78.
It's a great platform.
Yeah, and you just I messed around with it. I figure it was a $14 risk or a $15 risk. I mean, this one $17 obviously because it's designed for the starter, and
Then it's coming with the marker.
yeah, coming with the marker, and
You can buy the marker separately, but they usually range anywhere from $3 to $5.
Yeah,
depending.
and I pulled this one out even like you have
Right.
here.
If you don't want to get a starter set and maybe you don't have access to get the pens themselves, there's a lot of other options. Like me personally, I prefer to use the Sakura Micron pens.
Right.
You can get these at art stores like Michael's and Joann's, craft stores, that kind of thing. And if you get the 005 size, they're almost identical in size to the Gunpla markers. And depending on your preference, they sell different colors and stuff like that as well.
Right,
so if
right.
you prefer to do your panel lines maybe in gray, some people like the gray on white better than the black. I've seen people use orange to do like a rusted effect almost.
Okay.
Browns and things like that. But you can get these in black. I get these from Michael's, usually $2 or $3 a pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a great tool, and way you clean it up, guys, because you're gonna go over that line. Is I use just Q-tips or your finger.
You can
or
use Q-tips, a piece of
an
cloth,
eraser.
an eraser. Gum eraser will do just fine, and that's a great way to remove the lines and add a little bit of extra details to your kit.
So a little bit more advanced, guys, but still nothing that no one can accomplish with time and discipline. So that's an HG kit. HG stands for
High grade.
high grade. So guys, if you see it, where is it on the front? Oh, right there.
There it is.
It's right there in the corner. It says HG. So I get asked a lot, what do they stand for? And HG's high grade. It doesn't. Their scale for size and complexity doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes, but. Is it an issue because of translation issue? Like in Japan, it makes sense to them. But
It's really just high grade is like the flagship line.
okay, all right.
Like the majority of kits that Bandai puts out is high grade. High grade usually just means a certain size. It's a 1/144 scale.
Right.
So there's about the size of like a Marvel action figure, 5 to 7 inches high.
That's true.
So that's why you see them the most, because it's the most common size, and they're the easiest to get into. You don't need, like I said, much to get into these. Then you start getting into bigger sizes. Like the next one up is like the MG, the master grade,
Right.
which is bigger, more like 7 to 10 inches tall, and the details more intensive and things like that. But the price point is higher as well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So starter kit, this is like $17. They have HG kits, and guys, this is just one here. There's multiple HG kits in that 14, in the teens, it's not, or they can get a little more expensive the more complex they get.
Right.
So we have the HG kit. So let's see the next one we have on the line. So 30-minute HG.
Going up in the line, if you wanted to get maybe a little more into it, we have another high-grade kit, but this is a much more recent one. This is a new kit. This is the Gundam Sandrock. This is one of the ones from that show I first started on, Gundam Wing. Anyone here that was into that probably recognizes this one right away. The newer high grades have really, really upped the ante in terms of like detail and complexity. But they're still, like I said, just as easy to build and accessible. But they come with like a lot of option parts, and this one comes with like colored blades and things like that.
Okay, cool. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
And it's the same, guys. You're going to have your runners, maybe some stickers,
Right.
and the manual, the instruction manual. Now, remember, the starter kit comes with a marker. This one doesn't.
Yeah, this one doesn't come with a marker or anything like that. But you can see with some of these newer ones, you get some really cool effect parts. You can have his blades like heating up. And like I said before, really great color separation on all these. So no paint required. A few stickers, that's it.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that you said that, Ben, because I didn't even begin to realize that there's this color separation. Like,
Right.
the majority of the ones that I built, maybe because of the age of the kits, they're all like gray, or they're all blue, or they're
Right.
all red, or they're all whatever. I'm not really seeing this a whole lot, and those ejection molds that they're creating is like,
Yeah, Bandai has really set the
Mind-blowing.
standard for the technology of this. They've basically just dominated the plastic model market because of all the technology they've put into Gundam and everything like that.
yeah.
So on the instruction guide, they give you a really nice picture of a finished model kit, and you may look at this and think, "Oh, mine won't look anything like this." No, it'll look almost just as good right out of the box. The most they've done on this is a little bit of panel detail and a minor paint work, but the kit will look great right out of the box. Like I said, the modern Bandai high grades have really knocked it out of the park. And you can see what I mean too by the posability. While these are not just static figures, you can do just about any pose you see in the animation, these kits can do. Like Sandrock has always, in the show, had this really cool thing where you slice two different mobile suits in half with one attack.
Huh.
And you can do that. You just need two other models to cut in half.
Yeah. The modify.
Yeah.
And what's the deal with on the back of this particular one? I see on the bottom where it says color guide. On the
Right.
bottom. I've been seeing that quite a bit.
Later on, if you want to get into painting, all the Bandai kits break down exactly what the color mixing
Yeah,
guide
we're
is.
talking about like right over here.
Yeah, I
guys.
don't know if you can see that
You can
too
see it a
well.
little bit. Yeah.
But it breaks down exactly what colors you need,
Right.
how much to mix them to get the exact color you see on the pictures in here.
Really? It says that?
It's
Well, in
exact. It'll
Japanese,
tell you-
I can't read. Oh, no, okay.
It'll
so,
say like yellow 30%, white whatever
yeah, it
percent.
says white 40%, cream yellow 40%, yellow. What?
Yeah, it's very, very specific. So if you wanted to get at that animation accurate paint, you could do it with that.
crazy.
Yeah, they're very, very good on breaking it all down for you.
And with this kit in particular, guys, once again, you're looking at how long you think, Ben?
Oh, this one, I built this one in one night here at Flynn's, actually, and I think it took me about an hour and a half. But like I said, the detail and the posability of these ones, like I said, the newer high grades really knock it out of the
I'll
park.
have to definitely get into the newer high grades because
Right, and if you're ever unsure of like how old a kit is, you can just check the date on the bottom. Like here it says Bandai Spirits 2019.
really, I didn't
Yeah.
even know that. It says it right there on the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah, it does say.
All the newer kits, especially the high grades, are
Right.
going to have really nice posability, really good color accuracy, and really good articulation.
Now, would you recommend? Because I've seen a lot of people get Gundam for their children, or better yet, they get Gundam assuming it's like a action figure, like a Marvel action figure or whatever, Batman or whatever, and they play with them, or they think, well, first off, they got to build them, and then they begin to play with them as a regular toy.
You could totally do that.
You could do that. It's going to take a
I'm not
beating,
going to
isn't
lie.
it?
I've done it before.
Right, really? Okay.
It isn't like an action figure in that you can't like throw it against a wall and he's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's not solid plastic.
It's not.
yeah.
It's not like a solid thing. Things will break and everything like that. But if you're gonna build a model kit with your kid and you just want to get into doing play with them,
Right.
perfectly acceptable for that. Just make sure you keep track of the parts. You're going to be stepping on things.
Yeah, exactly, because they pop off and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to step on one of these guys' heat show tells at 2 a.m. I imagine that would be a bad way to wake up.
So we had a 30-minute build HG starter kit, and then a little bit more complex HG starter kit or
Right.
HG kit, high grade kit. Now, what's the deal with the numbers where it says 228 on it on the side of the box?
Yeah, same thing like with the year. That's how many kits there are in the line of high grade. So the higher the number, the newer it is.
Okay.
And this is, like I said, this is fairly recent, just last year.
Okay.
So anything in the high 200s is going to be a very new, very well designed.
Is that why the
kit.
Alto is 13?
Well, the Alto is not part of the Gundam line,
Okay.
so it's not numbered like that. Like
It's on the side right here.
oh yeah, like all the Altos are identical. The only thing different is the color. So I guarantee that it's like 13 or whatever are all just different colors.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like the Porta Novas and everything. Like these guys, I think they have them in 8 different colors.
Okay.
So just depending on like what you like for aesthetic, you can pick different ones there.
Yeah, they all have different. Oh my gosh, my battery's running low. Hang on a second, guys. I want to charge it. So you can jump in, Ben, to the next kit while I charge
Sure. All right, he's going to take care of that. I'm going to start talking about the next model kit. So let me move these ones aside. All right, so going up in the line of complexity, after high grades, you get master grades. Master grades is pretty much the top of the line for Bandai model kits. There are bigger kits, there are more complicated kits, but these are the ones where they really put all their effort and technology into. They're really advanced, they look really nice, and usually these are the ones where they're showcasing really what they can do. They have really advanced technology, really high posability, usually a lot of effect parts, and a lot of options if you want to expand the kits and things like that. This one specifically is the Freedom Gundam from Gundam Seed. A really popular design with fans.
And this is the master grade kit.
Yeah, this is the master grade. And the difference between this and the master grade, I'll just show you real quick. We'll put two of these guys next to each other. Just for size comparison, just in terms of box, what we're talking about here.
Yeah, even thickness of the box.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
there's a lot. This is a lot more kit. Now the good thing about that though is you're getting more bang for your buck. You will not build this guy in 1 hour. So
not even one night. You'll get tired. Well, unless you're Ben, you'll get tired of like wanting to finish.
I will build this in 1 night, but that's because I'm an insomniac.
So
All right, so we're getting into this, and you can see what we're talking about here. There's a lot more runners. There's 2 runners here. We've got a runner just for a stand. More here. Bright blue. That's a nice blue. Yeah. Oh, so you can see we've got a lot more to work with here. But just like the other ones, they're all numbered and lettered so that you can find your parts quickly. And really, the other good thing about the master grades is you get a really nice box art, and the art in the books looks really nice.
And that's in a 1/100 scale. And actually, I'll
Right.
pull out of.
Yeah, why don't you grab 2 of you guys so you can see them next to each other. Yeah, the 1/100 scale is a little bit bigger. Like I said, usually around 7 to 8 inches tall. And the posability of them is a lot higher than the high grades. And the detail, too, is really like a world apart. This one specifically is a 2.0 kit. 2.0, it means that they did this kit before, and they've revisited it. Usually they do an entirely new mold. Details are different, and the technology is usually much better. This one, I think the original came out more than 12 years ago, possibly longer than that. But the 2.0, the detail, and like I said, the posability and the internal frame is really, really nice. So here, he's grabbed 2 of his guys. These are both of the original RX-78 Gundam. And you can see the difference in the size. This one's quite a bit taller. Detail on both is good, but the thing that really sets
And you can pose it around and move it if you
Oh,
want.
sure. Don't threaten me with a good time. Right. But the good thing about these guys is inside, it's a full internal skeleton. You could take off all these armor parts, and it's got a fully posable skeleton on the inside that the armor all attaches to. And you can see some of that, like as you move him, you'll see certain parts of the inner frame become visible. And you can also see how the parts of the armor move and interact with one another. It's like a real machine. It's not just like a toy. It looks like a proper, like a proper machine would. It moves that way. But yeah, the detail's much higher. The part count is a lot higher. The complexity's higher, and it will take you more time to build. But just like these guys here, the little high grades, you don't need any advanced tools. Mm-hmm. You could put these together just with a pair of nippers. And if you wanted to get more advanced, get a Gundam Marker or a Sakura pen, maybe a little bit of sandpaper to help clean it up. And, I mean, just look how good that looks. Even just with some panel lining, a little bit of decal work, it looks great. It looks like it jumped right off the screen.
And then with this, and 2 seconds.
You good?
And then with this kit also, like Ben was saying, this is going to take you. Now, this took me, over time, a couple days because of the mere fact that I just kind of dragged it out longer than it needed to be. In reality, you're probably looking at how long?
I mean, I could build one of these in maybe about 5 or 6 hours.
Okay, all right.
But, like you say, you break it up into stages, maybe do half of it one night, finish the other half the next night, and then you want to go back to it and do like panel lining and work like that.
Exactly.
You could easily make one of these into a project to last you a couple days. Especially important now with everyone being trapped inside.
Exactly. Or if like a hurricane's impending.
Exactly.
Pick a couple kits up and trust me, you'll be occupied for hours.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing is, I agree 100% with Ben. The detail I've been finding in my own Gundam journey, which has been very, very short, that I enjoy the more complex kits more than the HG kits, because there's more complexity to it. It's a little tougher. There's a little more challenge to it.
Right.
But because the pieces are a little more intricate, there's a lot more of them. But I have to say, and we didn't show one, but I have to say that my least favorite one to work on is the real grade, because it's this size
with this level of complexity.
Exactly. So it's the 1 in 144 scale, which real grade's RG. It says RG on the box, but it's this size, the 144 scale. But it's this, like Ben was saying, it's the real or the master grade complexity.
Yeah, they even have the full internal skeleton and everything like that. They'll have like little metallic stickers and things like that as well. Very, very super detailed, but very fiddly, very, very non-beginner friendly, I'd say.
Yeah.
But
especially if you have larger hands or you're a child, a very young child.
But the other thing about master grades is not every suit is popular enough to get a master grade. The master grade line, they only come out with a new master grade about every 2 months or so. High grades are coming out with 2 or 3 a month consistently. So there's a lot more variety. Like some of the more outlandish designs never get a master grade, but most of the mainline hero suits will get a master grade kit. So it also depends on like your taste. If you like some of the more outlandish enemy suits, like the evil looking ones,
right.
A lot of those don't get this kind of kit. A lot of those they only get the smaller ones.
Okay.
So it's also up to your tastes. But the great thing about this guy too, and like I said, I just got to say you did a great job on him. He looks really good. But the great thing about this guy too is the master grades come with so many accessories. This guy in particular, I know, comes with a ton.
Yeah. You have different cannons and different guns.
Like the little guy here, I think he just came with the gun and the shield
and the saber, I think.
Yeah, that's about it. This guy, he comes with the shield, 2 versions of the gun, a shoulder cannon, 2 swords. I think does he come with the mace weapon?
I don't know. I have to look in the box.
He comes with a bazooka, I know for sure.
He comes with a bazooka.
And I believe this guy also comes a lot of the
bazooka you can put on the back and place.
Yeah, the bazooka. Shield. And I think this one also comes with the javelin weapon as well.
Yes, I believe so.
So there's lots of different options. Yeah, this is the origin.
Right,
master
exactly.
Grade.
Yeah. 2.0, right?
I don't think they call it the 2.0, but it's after the 2.0, so it's 2.0 tech.
Okay.
And that's what he's talking about is a lot of these kits they go back to and they refresh over the years. The original Gundam in particular, they have done very many versions of master grade because it's the kind of the face of the franchise. They always return to it every few years and give it a refreshing. This one, the origin, is from the new show that's running, which is a reimagining of the original story. So it's the original Gundam, but the design is more realistic. Like he's got a lot more detail on him. It feels more like a proper war machine than just like a 70s pastel-colored super robot. He's got a lot more, like I said, realism to it. That's why it's got so much extra detail on it compared to some of the older kits.
Exactly.
Right.
So as we begin to near the end, guys, if you have any questions or comments on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, by all means, you guys can chime in, ask the questions to Ben. Any thoughts or anything you want to know about or any ideas you have. And as we begin to, he's reading the comments on his Instagram. As we begin to go into deeper depth.
Yeah, the IBO kits.
every Monday, hopefully, we'll be able to kind of dive into another component. And then eventually at Flynn's, the goal is also to begin to dive into even like the water transfers and the different types of stickers.
Right.
Or even building kits with Ben during the process, maybe for an evening, that he'll kind of explain to you what he's doing, why he's doing it, so that you guys can kind of get your questions answered as easy as can. So we learned tonight that we have, we can start with the 30-minute kits, which is a very basic, simple, 30 minutes kind of gets you done with it.
I should bring in some of these guys I have built next time.
Yeah, exactly. So they can see it. And we're living and learning. And then so 30 minutes. 30
I had 2 of these. I should have just shoved them in my pocket.
Yeah, so 30 minutes. Some people like Christos, Greek Gunpla, he has I think all of them, all the colors. I've seen it. I saw a display. He has all the colors lined up.
Yeah, I got to get more of these because they're just a lot of fun to mix and match parts.
Yeah, and you have a lot of, like you said, customization.
Yeah.
The cool thing with Gundam that I've learned in being in the hobby is that really, maybe I'm gonna get like ridiculed because of it. But there's really no wrong way to do this.
No, and that's true. Gunpla is freedom. There is no wrong way to do it. However you like and however you see it in your imagination, in your head, you can do it. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
Yeah, if you want to chop off of a limb on a Gundam, or you want to,
I've done that.
brutalize it, you can do it. And
Done that too.
It's okay. But they also have like some very. If you guys want to dive a little deeper, I believe they just announced a contest. One of the build contests is going on right now.
I'm not sure what they're doing because of the whole COVID situation. Right. But yeah, every year there's the Gunpla World Builders Cup.
Right.
Where they do a big competition of builders from all over the world and stuff like that to see who's the best.
And then they I think it's probably going to be online or some sort. You can probably have to mail the submission in.
I'm not sure how that would work really, because usually it's like you go to a local one and then you fly off somewhere to do the final. And you'd bring the kit with you the whole way. I'm not sure how they're going to do it this time.
Yeah, so there's definitely opportunities to grow and expand, and I recommend my one and only recommendation can be just give it a shot and have fun with it. Remember, this is a hobby. It's not life or death. It's supposed to be fun, and I've seen people take hobbies and create a very like stressful. It's no longer fun right now. It's like.
It's the same thing I tell people with cosplay, where they're always like, how do I get into cosplay?
Right, exactly.
The best thing you can do is just get started. So many people want to get into something, and they're just intimidated by it. It's too complicated. I don't have the time. Just start it, and even if what you make is not up to the standard in your head, you can always come back to it later.
Yeah.
There's always ways to improve your craft, and it's all about just experience. You got to cut your teeth on something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing with like Gundam hobbies or hobbyists. Whenever I see someone walk up to the shelves that we have with Gundam on, I always ask them, hey, are you into Gundam? And eventually they'll spark. Well, I saw this show when I was a kid.
Right,
and
I've always kind of
wanted to. And I lead them to like, hey, well, have you ever considered building? And I'll point them to a 30-minute kit, or if they're a little more ambitious, an HG kit. Some people are really ambitious. They say, oh, I want the hardest kit that you have. And I'm like, all right, well, that's probably going to be the Faz sitting up there. So, you're going to...
That's a hard one.
A pretty big, it's a big investment, too. It's like $100-something. So, it's a big investment. Mm-hmm. But, once again, just kind of getting into it and giving it a shot. And then, bringing other people into it. And we call it Gunpla because why, Ben? Like, where'd they come up with that word?
It's short for Gundam Plastic Model.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you guys, I want to make sure that you guys break down the terminology so you understand. When we talk about Gunpla, we're talking about Gundam plastic models. And then, like Ben pointed out, which I'll have him bring hopefully in the next couple of videos, that the other types of models, because you've been messing around with a lot of the, I don't even know what to call it. They look like anime figures to me.
Yeah, I don't just do the robots. I also do some of the Musume kits, which is Japanese for girls.
Okay.
Basically, it's girl kits with like a military flair usually, like a girl's wearing armor, having sci-fi weapons, that kind of thing. Okay. I've done some of that. I've done some of the more traditional modeling, tanks and planes and that kind of thing. I'm working on some of those. And like I said, I do costumes and stuff as well. A lot of the skills I use in costuming, I got started in Gunpla models. It's just on a larger scale.
Exactly. And it just kind of pivots one to the other to the other. And to me, I always look at like the investment for the time of entertainment.
Oh yeah, you get way more out of these. For $50, where are you going to get a week's worth of fun?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
And then also, not only do you get a week's worth of fun, you get something killer to display.
And you get something killer to put on your shelf.
I'm a collector of the boxes. I don't throw the boxes away.
Look at those poses.
Yeah, I don't throw the boxes away. I don't have my own little man cave yet, but
yeah,
I don't
you
throw
just
the boxes
stack
away.
These up in the corner. The art is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I like the boxes a lot, and that's kind of like what gets you kind of attracted to it. And some of it's a little more tedious to build out because it does take time and effort, and you have to kind of like put your back into it, if you will, sometimes to push through the more boring parts. For me, sometimes you get into these really intricate parts that get you frustrated. You're like, this piece doesn't want to fit together, or it breaks.
Or sometimes it's like you get the guy built, and you're like, oh, great, he's done. Oh, I got to build all the weapons now.
Exactly.
It's like, well, he's fine with just the sword and the shield.
Exactly. It's like you've compromised with yourself.
Right.
Or even the battle bases, the stands. That's what I'm referring to. There's like stands you can buy that actually the person's sitting on them and all this other kind of stuff. Or your model is sitting on it or hooked into it. Right. And I was amazed that when I bought the first battle base, or action base, whatever they call it.
Action
base. And I was like, oh my gosh, like you have to build this also.
Right.
Like,
the action bases are kits too.
You know, this doesn't come pre-built, you know?
Nope.
And
it's only a few parts, but it's still on runners and everything.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these crazy people building this stuff. And they take it very seriously. Like Gundam, I've read and I watched videos that like when you're working for Bandai, it's like, aren't you in a uniform?
If you work at the Bandai headquarters, you're actually walking around your office dressed as a pilot from this show. That's what the uniform is.
And do they keep their secrets pretty private, like in terms of kit, like model development and things like that, or not really?
I wouldn't say they necessarily keep it secret, but they're always really pushing the envelope. There are other model kit companies, Kotobukiya and stuff like that have really great kits. But if you're talking about who's always pushing the limit of what the medium can do, it's Bandai, because they have the money to throw at it. They've got the IP to throw at it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to talk about anime, would not exist without Gundam. They're one and the same. So,
and if you want to see Gundam in a live action, I remember I saw it in Ready Player One.
Yeah, it makes a cameo in Ready Player One. It's fighting Mecha Guts. So.
Yeah, which doesn't go in. We won't get started with that because it doesn't. It doesn't definitely go in tune with the book.
I mean,
it's not in the
Ready
book.
Player One is crazy, but it's great to see the Gundam on the big screen
in real life,
in an American film.
In figurative real life. But I'm assuming that the production company that controls
Legendary, they made it. Didn't they?
They're probably very like they want to present it in a certain way, in a certain caliber.
Gundam came to live action once. A couple decades ago, I think it was 2000, and it was the Big Bang Project.
Okay.
And one of the things was we're going to do a live action movie. It was all Canadian actors. The budget was shoestring, and it was really, really bad CGI. And they learned really quickly from that. We're not doing this again until we do it right.
Well, you know, a lot of times these companies do hold. They got to hold it to a certain brand level. You know, they got to make sure that it's protected. Like you said, the intellectual property IP is very important to them. And when I saw it in Ready Player One, I was really, because I knew of the model and I was like, this is a really cool scene. And then when I got into Gundam, I was like, I went back and rewatched it a couple of times to get ideas. And honestly, you know, Will has told me time and time again, you know, I should watch the shows to get ideas for modifications and ideas for like how to paint and
we can even talk about that in the future. Like shows to start on.
100%.
Because it can be kind of intimidating. You say, how do I start? Oh, this show's been on for 30 plus years. How do I even start?
Where do I start? You know, it's like kind of like starting to watch The Simpsons. You know, like you start, or South Park. You know, where do you start?
It's quite literally the Japanese equivalent of Star Wars. It's a long, varied mythology. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you've never been into that, it can be hard to get into. Where do you start?
Exactly. And I think the whole preface of this time together, guys, and we both appreciate your time out there in TV land or the last hour, is that we have the ability to come together as a family, build, or even if you're building on your own at home for whatever reason, it's a great, affordable, very affordable hobby to get into, unlike, you know, HO scale trains and all this other craziness.
And I will say too, your guys' prices are very, very good. And that's not just me. That's not just me doing free advertising. I've been buying a lot of their stuff. Okay.
We try to. That's thanks to Will, because we really do try to price based on. We evolve as quickly as possible, and whenever you tell us, oh, that kit should be a little lower, and we reanalyze like the master grades and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And we try to really keep it like somewhere between, you know, Amazon and like the beyond, like to try to figure out that sweet spot, because we don't want to rip people off. And we've seen people do the kits where they're like outlandishly overpriced.
Some places the prices get really out there, and it's just like, who the heck is? And it's just like, if you're a fan,
I mean, I have paid for it. I have paid for it.
But it's like sometimes me as a fan, I look at it and I'm like, I love this stuff. I would never pay that for that suit.
Well. And then, of course, like, you know, if you're local and you want to come to Flynn's, you know, we're always, when we're open, we have the kids here. And then also, you know, I'm friends with the guys over at USA Gundam. Right. And they also have they have a huge selection.
Oh, yeah.
And and this is not a paid promotion in any capacity. No. But if you want something even more
you guys want to send us stuff, though?
Yeah, well, USA Gundam, I'll have to ask Adam about that. But they have sent us stuff before.
Oh, good.
Or at least given me stuff. So whether or not it makes it to the store, that's another story. But, you know, they have...
Your shelf is getting bigger.
No, it always ends up here. Yeah. But no, you know, you have these online companies and we try to keep everything as modestly priced as possible.
Right.
And once again, we want it to be accessible now.
Right.
When I started going to like you can get kits at Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, but your selection is going to be kind of there.
And if they have it, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Target, do they have them in Targets now?
I
know they have it online.
I've seen them on some of them. I know Hobby Lobby carries them every now and then.
I think Hobby Lobby
But you're
does
talking
as
like,
well.
you go into a store, maybe they got 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have, of course, Tate's is in the area. They have kits over there.
Mm-hmm.
You have USA Gundam online. You have a bunch of other websites online. You have us here. And there's a couple other comic book stores that don't ring. I know they exist, and I know they have kits, and you can kind of go and search. But I would say have fun with it. Search for something that you find attractive. My go-to kit, as you see, I predominantly build is what you guys call the Grandpa.
Yeah, the original RX.
I mean, my tattoo is based on that because I just enjoy the way the kit looks. I think it looks very aesthetically pleasing. And then, of course, I begin, the Zaku's, its arch enemy, if you will.
Right.
Char's Zaku as well.
You can't go wrong with the classics.
Yeah, and I really screwed with my first model because I really took it to the limit in terms of like taking a Dremel to it and started really messing with it and then doing weathering to it. And then, I think I took it too far because I got like into gunk washing or like...
No, he's just been through a lot.
Yeah, it's been through a lot, but then, Ben kind of ruled me back in because you told me like some ideas, and we'll get into other videos about like, it should really only be from the feet up to about the middle of the calf because they're monster robots. They're not going to be completely covered logically.
It's a matter of what your taste is,
right?
Though. Like I come at it from the aspect of what would a real machine that size, what would it come up to, what kind of damage would it take, and everything like that. You could go the exact opposite. There's no reason why one of these couldn't be rolling around, through destroyed cities and stuff and get all messed up.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean? It's all just a matter of what was your story in your head when you put them together, because you can totally make that story come alive in how you build it.
So I think the whole point and the premise of the video, guy, or this time together, guys, is to really just encourage you that. Lester says, I'm mad because now I want to stop by tomorrow. Yes, guys, you can stop by. We are open.
Yeah.
We appreciate your support greatly.
If you want to see some of the kits he's built too, because that's a good point. You get to see your growth as a builder just by coming in here looking at that display case.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm always more than willing to talk about what I've done, how I've done it, and what's worked for me, what hasn't worked for me. And I wish I had more time. Right now, the focus is obviously helping Flynn's grow to bring more and more events and more things to our Flynn's family, our community, you guys watching. So my focus has really been on that. I'm sacrificing my own pleasures to increase.
This is fun for me.
Yeah, I enjoy the kits greatly because of the amount of intricacy to them, even the smaller ones. Like I really wish. I know we're getting off on a tangent, but I really wish that the pastels would have made a transfer to the master grades, but it doesn't mean that I can't airbrush it.
Hey, that's something we could do in a future video.
We could airbrush it to match. I'll get another. I have a couple of them. So, and I have the mega size, which is the big one.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah. So anyways, guys, we appreciate your time. Once again, my name's Eddie from Flynn's. This is Ben, UbersCosplay. If he wants to, once again, let you guys know, I know we've had people chiming in and out over the last hour. So where can they? Well, first of all, you do more than just the Gundam stuff.
Right. I do costumes. I do giant oversized props. I do more traditional models, tanks, planes, that kind of thing. I do Gundam models. I do all kinds of stuff, but you can always follow me on Instagram is the best place to follow me at UbersCosplay. But you can put that name into Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I'm on all social media as UbersCosplay. One word, UBERS Cosplay.
And, guys, definitely go over there, give them a like, a follow. If we don't support each other in our ventures and our aspirations, then really who's going to support us? We have to support each other in pushing things forward.
Right.
And, I saw someone here in closing. I said, Mecha Man said, do a build contest, Eddie.
Hey, there's an idea.
I think that's definitely an idea. My plan, or we've talked about it briefly before. For those of you who don't know, Flynn's is in the process of expanding. Ben knows that. And we are in the process of expanding to another bay next to us. And that is going to allow us to have more room. We have some ideas of doing custom build centers where you'll have the space to build there, bring in air compressor,
right.
Or a paint airbrush gun, bringing in a lot more kits. And
even just talking with, me or other builders that come in and just talking shop.
Exactly. And being able to kind of figure out what we can do next. But a contest is really good. But just to give you a taste,
that's a good idea.
The idea is also to do a build night with a family.
That would be great too. I've done that at anime cons and things. Like
Right.
we'll do
seen
like a build panel, and you see, I love it because you see parents come in with their kids. They've never done it before, and by the end of an hour, they're leaving with a model kit. And
Exactly.
the kids got a new hobby, a constructive, great hobby. That's this is great for kids too, because like I said, it's exercise for your mind, for your hands.
Yeah, and that's I think, and we would make it all inclusive where we would have the cutters and we have the space, we'd have the kits. It'd be a flat investment, and then we would all come together and build it for the evening for the next couple hours. Maybe throw some pizza in there or something like that.
There you go.
And just have a good time, a fun time, a safe time, something that's enjoyable. So, anyways, guys, really appreciate you checking out the stream. A little different. I hope you enjoyed it. This will be the first of many. Yeah, Varun, a place to airbrush. Varun said a place to airbrush. Yes.
We got ideas. Don't worry.
Yes, we have ideas. It's just about implementing and support, guys. I've been getting a lot of, I'll come out a little later. Well, we want to make sure.
Yeah, if you just want to come out and talk shop, come to the build nights.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm usually there every night. Just come and we'll talk about Gundam.
Exactly. You don't even need to do anything. You just sit there. Most of the time, we just sit there and talk and screw around and do videos and geek out and just have a good time. So, anyways, this is the first of many videos to come, guys, and streams. Be sure to add your questions. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all those good stuff. So build night this Thursday, 8 p.m. Let's take it to the limit. I want to see the most people we've seen here so far at this build night, and maybe there will be some sort of a giveaway or something like that for the night. So I haven't decided if we'll do it, but maybe we will. So you never know. You got to show up. So anyways, guys, hope you have a great evening. Thank you so much for checking out Varun. Yes. Thank you so much for checking out this stream. I appreciate Ben's time. I appreciate his time, his expertise. We're blessed to have him. Very fortunate to have him in our lives. And we appreciate all you guys out in TV land. All right, you guys have an amazing evening, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
On the next